Hello there. Well, today I'm doing another episode of An Alternative of Humanity. Well, it's been a little since I've come back, come since I came back. Uh, there were some stuff that went on, like uh some cities were just completely destroyed. Uh, yeah, and also there's this I I'm pretty sure that is a puppet state. If not, that is a whole country. Well, anyways, let's dive into another episode. Well, the first thing we're going to do is here in Europe because as you can see, the I think this is the Median Empire, or is it the Medic Empire? Yeah, I think it's the Medic Empire. The Medic Empire recently expanded to this region over here, which I do not know why is at the wrong tone color. And they also have this region right here, which I completely forgot the name. I am dumb. And well, the Egyptians are going to declare war on them, and they start an invasion, but let's just say it does not go well. Um, I do not know why, but I kind of forgot how to uh select a color. I'm sorry, I forgot. It's been too long since I've learned this. So since I've done this, so I think it is select, and it is oh I kind of forgot how to like. I think it's magic wand. Okay, it's magic wand. I completely forgot about that. Sorry, I didn't use it recently, so pretty unique. However, continuing, I'm sorry for that. The Egyptians invade this region around here. However, the Medic Empire, I have to remember that name, they are able to recapture these territories, and because of that, because of that, they are actually going to invade back these territories. And while that happens, everyone tries to get some territory out of us. The I could say these are the Saharans, North Saharian, yes, and the uh, Carthaginians are going to invade the rest because they are cheeky and they decided to complete their invasion and steal these territories from everyone. Well, the treaty is a bit complex. The After a few negotiations, the Carthaginians stay with everything, actually, and while the medics will gain like a kind of alliance in but like it's not an alliance, it's like just a gift of money that the Carthaginians will give to the medicans, medics. And I'm sorry, I'm just I, I'm a bit weird sometimes. Anyways, the like for now, like there's not much stuff that looks like it's happening, but trust me, some bad stuff will happen later, and you do not want to know what. After some time, the Islam, the new Islam that I created over here, expanded to here, to this region, and well, here comes the bit of a conflict. The Carthaginians secretly throw a few civilians here, coming to this area here that I completely forgot the name. I'm sorry. And this causes a bit of rebellions occurring over here for them to join Carthage. But uh, the medics discover this. It's pretty weird saying the medics, but they discover this pretty quickly, and they're like, Carthage, your people are I like um, converting my whole nation, and I do not like converting. So so now it's quite the predicament in this area. Um, I wouldn't say it's pure hell because they didn't invade each other. However, it's not nice. Relations are starting to tighten between these two, and because of that, let's just show the alliance map. They're going to split up. They used to be like very close to an alliance, but now the Mediterraneans are going to call in a few other people in from Africa to join them in this alliance. For example, the Sahara, yes. Well, in this region, which I forgot the name, they're going to join the alliance, the Mediterranean alliance, because they have quite a difficult relationship with Carthage, meaning that they're going to do anything to get far away from them. Well, because of that, Carthage creates an alliance with Brisk. Um, well, they're kind of like small allies already. However, they right now are creating uh, kind of like a more formal alliance, which is going to be mm, the pink 4-point star. Well, they're going to call in the Carthaginians, the Brisk. They're going to call in Anatolia, which is not pretty nice because, well, Anatolia is an ally of the Mediterranean kingdom of Corsica, Mediterranean kingdom, the but Carthage is kind of like an enemy for the Mediterranean kingdom, which turns out now that Brisk is an enemy of the Mediterranean kingdom, and Brisk is also the enemy of the medical empire. Well, that means Brisk left this alliance, which is going to be a bit of a predicament. Well, these two countries used to be enemies but their ally is an ally of the Kingdom. So the North Africans are going to like be okay with it. They're not going to leave the alliance because they're only uh the only place they can get revenue and stuff. But they're going to be a bit colder with them, you know. Well, we finished the Mediterranean for now. What about Europe? Only Europe. Well, let's just say that Scandinavia had a bit of a weird situation with the Poles, and that means they severed all relations. Russia used to be an ally of Poland, but now the Scandinavians are going to leave this alliance. Oops, are going to leave this alliance and are going to, well, the only alliance they have left, which is this Triangle Alliance, which is with actually it used to be with the upper country, but now you know. Well, that means they have a new member, which is good. But the bad part is that this creates new enemies because the Triangle Nation is an enemy of both the the Purple Alliance, the purple rectangle, and the enemy of the Pink Rectangle, which kind of like shows how much they hate each other. It's just sad, but like sadly, it's a bit obvious, that was going to happen. And because of that, new ally in the pink squares, which is Poland. Well, because of that, the Scandinavians start creating a few new stuff for their armies, and that means the first bomb. Yeah, the first bomb for the the Scandinavians. Let's just increase this size. Good. Well, now that they have their first uh oh my now that they have oh my um now that the the Scandinavians have created a bomb, the Novgorodians, which I right now remember the name, Novgorod, they decided to mobilize their armies too, and they created a nuclear bomb site. Uh, in like it's secret. People would think they would do it on their capital, which is not shown. However, they're going to do it near the border with Crimea because Crimea is also turning to an ally of the pink rectangle. Well, they're kind of like an observer state for a while before they finally join, and now this alliance that includes wow, this alliance that includes all new nations are disbanded because, well, how do I explain this? Well, there isn't much to do anymore. They already tried their best to unite their ideologies into this kind of neo-fascism. However, that did not work well. Oops, wrong, wrong square, which caused the collapse of the alliance. And now these countries are going to look for more alliances. Well, firstly, the Sideways House is going to be the new home for these two nations, and Bolivia is going to call in Brazil to this alliance, to their alliance. Well, the the Pentagon alliance is starting to get pretty weak. Because of that, they decide to disband the whole thing, and that means new members. Well, not all are going to be in this same alliance because some are more related to Africa and Europe. For example, the Northwest, the Northeast is now going to be an ally of the Africans due to their little colony over here, which is now integrated territory, by the way. And the Amapá, I think, the Guyanas, are going to be part of the Pink Alliance because of their historic traits to Portugal, which I forgot to add to this alliance, and also their economic dependence to them. Well, talking about bombs, nuclear bombs, there's going to be a pact in between the Indians and the Sri Lankans, which is not a non-aggression pact, but like a non-bomb aggression pact. That means they're not going to use bombs one against each other. That's why I'm going to add a bit of a text here, which is I think it's just going to put it as an X, just as an X, and put it right in between. Oops, put it right in between them, like this. Now they're not going to attack each other, and the first non-agree the well, there's a non-aggression pact over here in between the Green and Mongolia because like I know they're in the same alliance, but they were kind of cold recently and they almost left the alliance. Well, why is are they at war and I completely forgot about that? I do not remember honestly, but I accidentally said so. Little did a little spoiler. Well, the new alliance is going to show up, which is the Red Heart Alliance in between the this Chinese nation and Korea, because recently relations with the Red country has got a bit weird, making because like there's a new leader here, which is a bit more imperialist, and they have made a few claims about, for example, the Red Nation being the one that caused all of these nations to exist, which is kind of true, but they're not the original Red Nation. Also, they said that because of that, all of China and Vietnam and Korea is considered part of China culturally, and these provinces here in India, and from which are Tibet and this territory over here are considered national Chinese territory. Because of that, relations in between these people lowered a lot, causing the end of this alliance over here. Almost, because the Japanese, the Russians, the Siberians, and the Vietnamese are economically dependent to China, so they're not allowed to leave freely. But we've got an issue. Bombs are also being created in China, according to spies. Spies? Yes, spies. And for now, studies show they have 15 bombs. These bombs are more, um, are less considered um, atomic bombs, but more like hydrogen bombs, which means they're more effective. They make way more damage. So they're probably enough to destroy a whole capital and make like a province uninhabitable for a while. And I'm still trying to remember this, which I do not remember. Because of that, I'm going to make this a kind of a protectorate, like an area that the Koreans allowed for the the Chinese to have military access of. But recently, because of the stuff that occurred, the Koreans have told the Red Nation to leave, and they did not leave. They actually took more territory, not by force, because these territories are more already culturally Chinese. However, well, let's just say that oops, that people are not going to like this movement, especially because, well, the Chinese are doing the same that the the Islamists were doing, Carthaginians were doing. They're just going to expand their religion and their people, their ethnicity, across these terrains. Well, everyone notices that, and nobody likes that. Well, Hainan especially, still if they are already conquered by this religion. Hainan decides that they will do an ultimatum, or they stop with or the leader, the president, leaves, or there's going to be another war, another great war over here. And here comes the problem because the Chinese do not leave. They say, um, quote, we challenge you to hurt, to penetrate our military bases and the patriotism within our cultures. Quote. Well, that's like 50 years of diplomacy completely destroyed. Well, bombs have the quantity of bomb have increased over here. Not just one, 10. And one hydrogen bomb. They were the first to create. Oops. They were the first to create a hydrogen bomb in like southern China because here in Hainan culture says that Hainan and Vietnam and the Philippines and all of this basically is territory of is Hainan region. It's the Hainan region, not China. While China, Red China, says that, let me just use the lasso tool. Approximately, if you hear the train, it's pretty noisy. According to them, to the Chinese, this way, this is culturally China, territorially China, and religiously China. They do not include these countries because they are considered unclean, messy, dirty. Well, this causes uh the first war here in some time to happen. And secretly, the Europeans were helping each one of these countries. The purple country was helping the green square. The pink country was helping the heart. And the triangle was helping Hainan, which is odd. They're not helping the whole alliance, they're just helping Hainan and Japan. This Japan, which is not even going to be part of the war until the Koreans. Okay, I'm going to give. I'm giving spoilers. Sorry. Well, the first thing that happens, the red invasion. The red invasion. The red country, the red China, starts their invasion on the green nation. Yep, it's starting. They take their troops to this region over here, and they kind of have no resistance because the notification is still taking too long to reach the government. And that is going to cause a few problems. Also, this country is so poor, kind of poor, that they have three, four, five, six capitals, which is making them actually have no capitals at all because their country used to have a capital over here at this area, which is like an emergency capital, but they were completely annihilated because of the nukes. Well, the Chinese easily go through these regions, and while that happens, Vietnam also invades China, Green China. Well, it's going pretty bad right now for the for the Green Alliance, but supplies are coming. But supplies are also coming for the Chinese. Well, let me just. Uh, I do not know how I'm going to be able to remind that this helps this and this helps this. Well, anyways, supplies arrive, and the notification also arrives, finally, to Korea. So the invasion of China commences. The Koreans invade this region over here because, well, they used to be it used to be their territory. Well, the Hainanese also start doing their small invasion over here, which is less populated and um, less, it has less interest, which means like the Chinese do not care about this area. They care about their mainland. And now the Vietnamese are also invading China, kind of, because protection. They're going to attack this military force while they're invading over here. And there's going to be a pretty important battle. Still, if it's not an important city, there's an important battle over here, which had a large group of Vietnamese soldiers. They lost. Now, because of that, the Hainanese were able to destroy one by one each city and territory. The Vietnamese start to be invaded too by the Hainanese. And this used to be their capital, by the way, over here when they didn't like you understood. Anyways, they started expanding over here, and the Hainanese take a ship over here with approximately 10,000 soldiers. Not one ship, but many. And with these 10,000 soldiers, they invade southern Vietnam. Troops are over here, and not there, which means troops will have to uh, split. And because of that, they're going to be able to expand a bit more, and they over here will be able to expand more. However, it stops. Uh, I, Probably because of trench warfare, which is still existent in less recognized territory. And now the the Hainanese decide to do something pretty dumb. The first nuclear bomb in this whole war is tossed at their capital. Oops, at their capital, destroying completely it. They also throw a bomb over here and a bomb over here. This event caused the outrage not only of Europeans, but the Chinese and Indians. Yes, the Indians are still capable of war somehow. Well, now they only have 7 bombs. It's gonna be pretty quite the predicament right now. But the alliances are discovered, and Europe goes to war. The first thing that happens is the invasion of Brisk, which is not swift at all. It takes really long. It takes very long because the Mediterranean Empire kingdom is pretty low on military right now because they had to limit their capacities, their capabilities because of the uh, economic crises and the supplies they gave to the Chinese. But the the medical empire managed to expand until over here, until territories basically stop. 2 months later, they are able to capture this final part of Italy, of of Brisk's boot. And now Carthage has joined the war. Yes, Carthage. Well, now they have finally done what they wanted to do. They started an invasion over here. Well, the uh this country, the medical empire, will have to stop their invasion over here to deal with that. But the Anatolians also join, and they completely lose all their territories over here, which means that they don't need to care over here anymore. Unless they'll have to, like, defend their capital, which is now under threat. Two countries. Well, the Anatolians are not able to capture more territories. They're forced to leave after a few economic situations, and the Mediterranean Republic finally is able to do something useful for once, and they capture the capital of Brisk after a land invasion that needed forces from every single country within the alliance. So now they're over here and surrounding the capital. The siege of Rome, no, not Rome, this random city, which I do not know, takes a bit, and because of the capture, Risk capitulates. Well, that's a rough start, especially for the Africans. The Europeans are now a bit, well, Poland and Germany and the Triangles and Poland. There's an invasion of Poland, which goes very well until the Russians show up, which stops everything around here. And the Germans and Austrians were also able to do a bit of their own invasion down here, but the Austrians didn't do much because, like, they're bad at war. They suck. Well, this is it for now. Europe is completely destroyed, and China is being destroyed again, and is destroying this world. Nice. Not at all. Well, what else can I do except say goodbye to everyone, and thanks for watching. Next episode, I'm just going to give a little spoiler. The Americas. Goodbye.